All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kurt Hessinger, and I'm one of the academic advisors here with the School of Social Sciences. So welcome to our session for economics, business economics, and quantitative economics majors, our live webinar. Hopefully you're in the right spot. We'd like to welcome you and congratulate you on being admitted into UCI and coming to the School of Social Sciences. We're really excited to have you on campus this fall. And what we were going to do today is kind of give you a brief overview of the major requirements, what it takes to graduate. So that'll be a short presentation. And then after that, we will have a live Q&A session with our other academic advisors as well. And so you'll have the opportunity to ask questions later, but if you can hold off on that, asking those questions until after we're done with the presentation, that would be greatly appreciated. But we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so in a couple of minutes, I'm going to introduce you to Carissa Sorensen. She represents our Social Sciences Academic Resource Center, and she's going to be talking a little bit more about the opportunities that the Resource Center has. After that, we'll go through a series of information about graduation requirements, School of Social Sciences requirements, what the econ department's all about, and the opportunities that it provides to you as a student. We're going to go through in detail about the major requirements that are required to complete a degree in economics, minors that you might be interested in, and elective units and how that factors into your degree program. Also, we're going to talk about change of majors in case you are interested in changing majors, or maybe you even want a double major. We're going to be talking about those options as well. And then we'll talk about our office, about what we do and what we can do for you as undergraduate student affairs office, and how we can help you out during your journey here at UCI. And then a few resources that you'll have access to, and then some important deadlines that are upcoming, and then we'll have our live Q&A session. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Carissa so she can talk a little bit more about our Social Sciences Academic Resource Center. So Carissa, it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kurt. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carissa Sorensen, and I'm the director of the Social Sciences Academic Resource Center, also known as SARC. I'm really excited to be here virtually with you to share a little bit more about our center and how we can provide you the resources to kind of set you up for long-term success after graduating from UCI. So just to share a little bit about SARC, we're committed to supporting you in the pursuit of your post-baccalaureate goals. It just means your goals after UCI, whether that's graduate school, or maybe you're thinking about working full-time or possibly going into research. We are actually very unique to the School of Social Sciences. There's no other academic unit with a center like ours. So I think I would consider yourself very lucky to be part of this school. But just to give you a couple examples of what we can do for you, our team can actually guide you through, for example, the graduate school application process. So like looking through your personal statements or statement of purpose, also connecting you to scholarships. So scholarships here in the School of Social Sciences or just at UCI in general and beyond, as well as internships, getting academic credit for your internships, career positions, also faculty mentored research opportunities. If you're looking to get involved on campus, so campus leadership or service opportunities, we can also connect you to those as well. However, we strongly encourage you to just utilize our one-on-one consultation services. We can have your resume, your cover letter reviewed. And then of course, hopefully when you're in person, or once we all get back in person, eventually you'll be able to utilize our actual physical space, which is located in SBSG. And there we have a study space, computers available, and printing services. So we look forward to seeing you eventually in person or virtually. But for now, you can contact us by email. We are open this summer virtually 9 a.m. To 5 p.m. So feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, or even if you want to just meet with us and talk about your goals for the upcoming year, we'd be happy to do so. And if you're on social media, we also encourage you to follow us on Instagram or Facebook at UC Irvine SARC. There's a lot of really great info on there too. But yeah, I'll go ahead and pass it to Kurt, but thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you, Carissa. We're always excited to have Carissa and Patrick come and talk about the Resource Center because they do such amazing work, not only with them, but also their student staff as well. And we're one of the few offices on campus that has such a resource for our undergraduate students. So definitely take advantage of all the services that they have. And during the fall quarter, I think you'll be happy and pleased as a supplement to what you're doing in the classroom as well. So thank you, Carissa. All right, so first of all, just a few general things about graduation requirements. And this is kind of for all students that are on campus, regardless of majors, okay? So first thing is that social sciences students and all of our majors have to take all of their math courses required and all of the major courses that are required for a letter grade option only. So that is very important as you start selecting your classes. Make sure you're taking those courses for letter grades because those are mandatory as far as math courses and major courses, okay? All students, regardless of major, have to have at least 180 quarter units to graduate. And that's regardless of major in social sciences and humanities. It doesn't matter. Every student has to have at least 180 quarter units. So what that means is some of you might be coming in with different units depending on what's being transferred from your previous colleges. And you might find that you completed all of your major requirements in economics, and you might have a few extra units left over after that. And if that's the case, then you have to take additional units to reach that 180 unit minimum, right? And so you can go over that, but every student has to have at least 180 units to graduate. And that's important as you keep track of your progress within your degree. Also, students have a max, transfer students have a max of 105 quarter units. And that's the maximum for lower division classes that any transfer student can come in with that UCI will award unit credit for. What that usually works out to is if you're coming from a semester school, is 70 semester units equates to 105 quarter units. So if that helps you put it in perspective a little bit, just so you know, what that means as well is that you can still take courses outside of UCI if you've reached that limit. However, you won't receive any additional units towards graduation. It'd only be for like subject credit or things like that. So if that's something you're looking to do somewhere down the line, you need to do it, you will just contact our office. We'll help you out with that. And that doesn't include any advanced placement exams you might have or any international baccalaureate exam credit either. So if you have that, that can be added on to that total as well. And then lastly, every student has to have a minimum of a 2.0 GPA overall and within your major. Obviously, we know you have, your heights are set higher than that as far as your GPA, but at least knowing going into it that you at least have to have a 2.0 across the board for your degree program. All right, so the next few slides, we're going to be talking about 4 specific areas. The first area are called UC requirements. UC requirements are requirements that every single UC campus student has to complete as an undergraduate. So what we're giving you in that area is for regardless of campus. Then we'll go into UCI general education requirements that are required for all students. And then School of Social Science requirements that are required for all majors within the School of Social Sciences. And then lastly, we'll go through some major requirements as well, so you know what you're taking within your degree program. All right, so the first UC requirement that you see at the top there, UC entry-level writing, that is typically satisfied for all transfer students as long as you've completed a transferable language or English composition course. So typically we usually see that already satisfied because every student usually has at least one. And then the second one is American History and Institution. Now this one, some of you may have all of it done, some of you may have part of it done, or some of you may have none of it done, depending on what you've done previously at your colleges, or maybe what you have done in high school previously as well in the US. So if you need to take this series here at UCI, basically it's a course in American history and a course in American government, all right? So when you're taking at UCI, you have 2 options to do this. You can either take a year-long sequence of US history, which at UCI is History 40 A, B, and C with a grade of C or better, or you could take one US history course from 40A, B, and C, and then one US government course, which is Political Science 21A, also with grades of C or better. So one of those options has to be met, or possibly both, depending where you're coming from, what college. So that's something that UCI admissions will be evaluating this summer, and hopefully sometime by the beginning of fall quarter, we'll know if you have to take any part of that history or American government sequence, but we may not know that answer right now. So just keep that in mind in the back of your head for future reference. All right, so UCI general education requirements. So again, the general education requirements are something that everyone has to meet. So there are 8 total categories. The first one is writing, and there's 3 courses required for writing, one of those being an upper division writing class. Science and technology requires 3 courses, which basically means courses like chemistry, physics, biosci, earth system sciences are examples of courses in that area. Then social and behavioral sciences, which is category 3, also requires 3 courses. However, by being a major within the School of Social Sciences, that category is going to be automatically satisfied as long as you stay with us as a student in the School of Social Sciences and graduate with a degree. All right. And then arts and humanities, category 4, 3 courses as well. And courses in that area would be like African American studies, philosophy, art history, film and media studies, dance. Those courses would be considered arts and humanities courses. And then category 5, which is called quantitative literacy and formal reasoning, that will be covered by your math courses within the School of Social Sciences. So as an economics major, that's going to be satisfied. So you won't have to worry about that as an extra category. And then category 6, language other than English, is basically students at UCI have to complete through the 1C level at UCI. And so that means that's, it could be 2 semesters of language. If you took that at another college of the same language, you could have satisfied that by 3 years in high school possibly, or you might even need to take that here at UCI depending on what level you're at. Right. And then category 7 is multicultural studies. And that's 1 course. And those courses are going to be more race and ethnic studies courses. So courses like Asian American studies, African American studies, any other type of race and ethnic study courses that we offer at UCI would be in that category. And then category 8 is international and global issues. That's 1 course as well. And that would be a course that focuses on something outside of the US. So Canadian politics or, history of China, that would be considered international global issues course as well. All right, so those are the 8 categories for general education. And at the bottom there, we see that many of our transfer students, especially if they're coming from California community colleges, may have fulfilled most of these GE requirements through UCI GETC. And so what that means is it's a program that's a community college program. And if you're UCI GETC certified, you would have had most of these requirements fulfilled except for the upper division writing. All right. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more on the next slide. The other option is UC reciprocity, and that's a program within the UC system. So if you're transferring directly from another UC campus, then if we receive an official letter from that campus saying you've completed their general education requirements, then you can also satisfy most of the general education requirements as well. All right, so a little bit more detail about a GETC and UC reciprocity. So as I mentioned previously, a GETC certification is a community college certification program. It's not a UC program. So it would need to come directly from your California community college if you've completed it. So if you've completed our form for registration and we have a little box in there and if you put like a GETC on that, that means we're looking out for it because you've indicated that you think you have that completed. Right, so it's very important that you actually request that from your community college. The reason being is that it's not automatically on your transcript just by sending the transcript to UCI admission. In many cases, students will have to check a box off that says, please include my GETC, or you'll have to specifically request it to be included with your transcripts if it's on a separate certification sheet. But definitely make sure your community college sends that along with your official transcripts. That's the only way we can certify that you've done UCI GETC. All right, and then UC reciprocity, same kind of thing, is that we would need an official letter sent from the UC campus that you're transferring from, saying that you've completed their GE requirements. And both of these documents, whether it's UCI GETC, full or partial, or letter of reciprocity, has to be sent officially electronically to UCI admissions prior to the start of the fall quarter. So you have some time because we don't start our fall quarter until the end of September, but it does take time to get these certifications completed for certain colleges, and everyone does it differently. So make sure you kind of request that as soon as possible so we can confirm that you've completed either UCI GETC or UC reciprocity. And then all transfer students, regardless of GETC or reciprocity being received, will still have to do an upper division writing course. And that means basically any course marked with a W after it. So every student has to do at least one upper division writing course throughout their major. So that's something that you will be working with you on for advising later on. All right, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is the School of Social Sciences requirements. And this, again, is something that every major within the School of Social Sciences has to complete. So for us, we have 2 specific areas. One of them is the math requirement required for all School of Social Sciences majors. For economics, basically, since it's very heavy in math with calculus and economic statistics and econometrics, those are going to be satisfied through your courses within your major for either economics, business economics, or quantitative economics. And then the Math 2A and the 2B are calculus. The Econ 15A and 15B are economic statistics classes. And the 122A course that you see there is called econometrics. All right, so those are the math courses that would meet those requirements for the School of Social Sciences. For quantitative economics, again, it's Math 2A and 2B, plus there's an additional linear algebra class, which is called Math 3A. And then there's an upper division statistics sequence as well. Instead of 15A, 15B, you'd be taking either Stats 120A, B, and C, or Math 130A, B, and C to meet those requirements. And again, just to reiterate, all those courses, all the math courses do have to be completed for a letter grade option. And then the second requirement for School of Social Sciences is the completion of our computer technology requirement. And that can be completed one of two ways, either with Social Science 3A, which is the more common option because we offer it here in Social Sciences. Or if you are lucky enough to get into the class and want to take it, ICS 31, which is a computer programming class, which is built for computer science majors. That's an option as well. It just is a little more challenging to enroll into that course. And if that's something you want to do, you may have to wait a little bit or take it during the summer if you want to take that class. But again, most of our students tend to take Social Science 3A because it is readily available every quarter, including the summer. Right? And then this requirement for computer technology can be taken for a pass and pass or a letter grade option if you'd like. All right, so in general, what is the Department of Economics and how it relates to your major? So basically what you're looking at from an economic standpoint is very heavy in the theoretical principles and also in the quantitative analysis aspects of economics. So you can see here, there is courses in advanced microeconomics and macroeconomics, how governments make choices, individuals make choices, consequences of those choices. So you're getting a lot of theory within econ and a lot of, like I said, math and quantitative analysis throughout the major program in all of our economics majors. And then on the left side, you'll see some of our sample courses. So you'll see like global economy, international money, international trade, money and banking, corporate finance. Those are just a few of the sample courses that you might be taking in your next few quarters here at UCI. And then also there's an honors program, which if you're engaging in an honors program within the School of Social Sciences, then that means you will be engaging in a thesis project, which is a research project. So if you really want to go above and beyond what your major requirements are and you really have an inkling to do some research, the honors program is there for you. And you'll be mentored by a faculty member, but you'll be doing your own research and creating your own research project. So that's something you might want to consider as well throughout the next few quarters. Right, and then there is a specialization in international issues and economics. And then there is actually an economics learning center called the ELC, which we have as well. So it acts as a kind of an additional tutoring center or a place where you can ask questions about specific economics courses as well, which is nice to have as well. All right, so what we're providing here is basically kind of all of the requirements for each of the majors. So we're going to go through our economics major requirements, our business economic major requirements, and our quantitative economics major requirements. So what you see on the right-hand side there is a sample of a degree check that you're going to be receiving at some point during the summer when it's going to be filled out with the courses you've taken from other colleges, but it does outline the courses that you need to complete to receive a degree in economics. Okay, so on the left-hand side kind of runs through quickly the courses that are required. So every student has to have 2 social science introductory courses, and the choices that you have are listed there as well. Every student has to take an introductory macroeconomics class, which at UCI is 20A and 20B. Every student takes a calculus course, which is Math 2A and 2B at UCI. And then 2 courses in Econ 15A and 15B, which is probability and stats within economics. And then 1 applied econ course, econometrics, which is Econ 122A. And then our intermediate economics series of the 100 A, B, and C series. And then 6 additional econ electives as well. And one of those can be a lower division class. So that's a quick run through of the requirements just for economics. Now, many of you are going to have some of these classes satisfied from your previous colleges, as I mentioned earlier. So not everyone will be different. Most of you, all of you will have 20A and 20B, Math 2A and 2B, because those are courses that you have to have in order to enter any of our economics majors. And then courses like in introductory courses, you may or may not have, depending on what you've taken from your previous school. But you will receive an evaluated degree check at some, later on in the summer that tells you exactly what you have credit for. All right, so our business economics major requirements are very similar What really separates the econ and the biz econ major is the addition of what we call econometrics. You have to take one additional econometrics course. Plus, there is an accounting course that is required for a business econ major, which is Econ 25. And then we also have specific business econ electives and management econ electives that you have to take from selective choices of courses as well. So everything is very similar in nature with the exception of those requirements, which is Econ 122B. So you have two courses in applied economics, econometrics, and an accounting course that's required, and then the elective courses that are very more specific as far as your choices that you have, which would be up here in 17 and 18 on this degree check sheet. And then quantitative economics is a little bit different than either our econ or business economics majors. Okay, what you can see the similarities are is where the intro classes are. These are the same. The econ 20A, 20B, the micro macro, very similar. The calculus courses is where it starts to change a little bit. So everyone has to also take math 2A, 2B, which is calculus, right? But students in quantitative economics also must complete a course in linear algebra, which at UCI is math 3A. And then the probability and stats courses that are required for quantitative economics are different as well. So instead of econ 15A and 15B, you'll be taking a sequence stats 120 A, B, and C, or math 130 A, B, and C. So that's a sequence of courses that students within the quantitative economics majors will have to take as well. And then again, there is two econometrics courses taught as well, but it is a different sequence. So it is a econ 123A, 123B. So this course differs from the previous courses, which was 122A and B. And then there is an intermediate economic sequence as well, specifically for the quantitative econ major, and that's econ 105 A, B, and C that's required. And then there's two additional quantitative elective courses, which are up here at the top in area 16 on the degree check over here. And then there's two additional econ elective courses in 17, which can be upper division econ courses. And then every student, which is different from the previous two, has to have an economics upper division writing course, specifically in economics. So that an example of a course like that would be econ 137W. So the W at the end of that designates that as an upper division writing course. Okay, so those are kind of the degree requirements for the three specific majors that we have within social sciences. So econ, business economics, and quantitative economics. So like I said, later in the summer, when you get your email from one of our academic advisors, you're going to get an evaluation check sheet of everything that you have credit for. So you'll know ahead of time what you still need to complete through each of those majors. All right, so moving on. So some of you may decide that you might want to do a minor in addition to doing your major in economics or business economics or quantitative economics. If you decide to do it, then that can be done within the School of Social Sciences or outside the School of Social Sciences. So a minor is not required. So it is something that maybe you have a personal interest in, and maybe you want to get a little bit more background in a certain area, but you don't want to do the entire major. That's something that you might be interested in doing. We do have students that do various minors throughout the campus, so there's nothing that you're required to do. But if you're interested in doing a minor, you can actually talk to us at the beginning of the quarter or sometime during the academic year, and then we can help you out with those requirements and add that to your audit later on so you can keep track of that. The other aspect that we talked about earlier are elective units. And what that means is that maybe you're not doing a minor, but you still need some units to reach that 180 unit mark. If that is the case, then elective units can be completed across the campus. So it doesn't have to be within economics. If you've done all of your major classes, they could be courses in history, they could be courses in criminology, as long as you can get units for those classes. And if you need those units, that's what we classify as elective units to count towards the 180 units to graduate. All right, so changing your major. So students that either want to change majors or even possibly double major may be allowed to do that as a transfer student. But it depends on the major that you're trying to do and the time frame that you have left to complete that as well. So every major on campus, whether you're changing out of a major or adding a double major, requires students to complete a set of courses first, and also probably a certain GPA requirement necessary in those courses to make that transition. So if that's something that you're considering, then it is something you're going to want to try to make progress in right away, just so given the time that you're here at UCI, you don't want to wait too late because you might run out of time if you decide you want to do this later. So there might be a maximum unit limit as well. So let's say you decide, oh, I want to add a double major in, history later on, but you're waiting until the 2 quarters before you graduate. So that might not work out because you're going to run out of time at UCI to get both of those degree programs done. So all students do have 9 quarters. So as a transfer student, that's basically 3 years, 3 full years at UCI to complete your degree requirements. So whether that's your major or doing a double major or minor, that's the maximum amount of quarters that you have at UCI, which would be 9 quarters. And then at the bottom there, you'll see the link for changeofmajor.uci.edu. That's the link that you can go to if you want to see what are their courses and GPA requirements that you would need to meet to either change your major or to actually add a double major. So if you go to that website right there, you'll be able to get access to all the majors on campus and what they require to get in. All right, so our student affairs office. So I always smile at this photo because it's always like a fun photo and kind of represents our different personalities within the office. So that's our full-time academic advisors that you see right there. So we are a fun office. We try to be, as helpful and as open as we can to help you move on to your next journey. But yeah, we have 8 full-time academic advisors. Great thing is we're all alumni of UCI. So we've all received our degrees from UCI. So that means we've been there and we've done that, right? We've all kind of got our degrees at different points in time along the way. But the good thing is we know the campus really well. We have great experiences that we can share with you and help you out, which is a nice resource to have. But even better than us, right, is that we have 8 to 12 peer academic advisors as well who are students just like you are. And they're kind of our life, in office, right? We actually lean on them a lot because they provide the perspective that we can't, right? Which is actually a current student perspective. And our peer advisors are represented from various majors within the School of Social Sciences. They're also trained in all the majors as well. So they actually know a little bit about all of our majors, but you can actually have the opportunity to see them and talk to them and work with them as well, which is nice to have as well. So you have 8 full-time advisors and 8 to 12 peer academic advisors as well that can assist you. And then we have our other services that we provide to you along the way. But definitely use us as your main point of contact. So we're here to help, and we want to make sure we get you to that point of graduation. Okay, communicating with our office. All right, so there's 2 ways. There's 2 kind of different things we're going to be talking about. So the first way to communicate with our office during the summer, which is basically between now and to the end of September, because we don't start the fall quarter until the end of September, is your main point of contact will be the transfer admin email address that you've probably been using or seen emails coming from already. So if you have any questions throughout the summer, please email us at transferadmin@socsci.uci.edu. And then please use your UCI email address because I know we know it's active right now. We want you to use it. And then include your full name and ID number in that as well, so we know who we're talking to or emailing. And then allow us at least 2 business days to respond. We do have a lot of new students coming in this fall, so it may take us a couple of days to get back to your email, but you will get a reply back, right? So this is for the summer. So from now until the end of September, please use that email address for any contact information that you might need with us. Now, once fall quarter begins, so at the end of September, then we have some other options that are going to be available to you. One of them will be email, of course, and that can be sent to either one advisor in our office, or you can send it to our general email account, which is socsci@uci.edu. Now, if you are going to email an advisor within the office, we do ask that you just email one advisor at a time. It helps us answer your questions more quickly, and that we can get to your questions, and that way it makes it a little easier on us too as in the office. All right, we're also going to have the phone option as well if you want to call beginning with the fall quarter. And we're going to have our phone hours posted on our website once the fall quarter begins. So look for that on our advising website. And then if you call outside of our posted phone hours, please leave a voicemail because we do have that ability to check voicemail, but leave your full name and UCI ID number and a callback number so we can return your call the next time we're available. So very important if we're not there. We also have live chat, which is really nice for quick questions. So we'll have that periodically, and we'll have those hours posted on our website beginning with the fall quarter. And those are going to be for really quick questions, right? We're not going to do more scheduling planning there. That takes too much time on the live chat option. But if you have a quick question, you can just come on our live chat, ask it, and then we can give you a quick answer to that question. Okay. And then Zoom appointments, we'll have those as well. And that's going to start week 2 of every quarter. And we go from week 2 to week 10, and you can actually submit an appointment request form on our website. if you want to schedule an individual Zoom appointment as well. So you have multiple options beginning with the fall quarter, but again, for the summer, please use our transfer admin email address at the top there to communicate with our office. All right, and then UCI resources. Obviously, we have a ton of resources that we're really excited about. This is, a good amount of them, obviously not the extent to what you have available to you, but these are important offices to really reach out to if you have questions. So we have like our Learning and Academic Resource Center, we have our UCI Dream Center, the International Center for questions, Cross-Cultural Center, Counseling Center, very important office if you need access. So we have a lot of very good offices and very good staff across the campus that are willing to help in different ways. We can guide you to those resources too if you need help with that, and we can connect you. But please know that you have a lot of options, that you don't have to do everything on your own. Use our services, use us, and then we can help you connect, or you can go to these offices directly, because like I said, these are here for you as an undergraduate student. All right, so what's coming up next? So some really important deadlines to consider coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So make sure that you register for transfer advising by June 18th at 5 p.m. So you've received emails about this, so make sure you register for it by June 18th at 5 p.m. so we can actually move you into the next stage, which would then be completing a Canvas module by June 24th, okay? So these are very important deadlines to meet because that affects how you're going to be able to enroll into classes later in the summer. All right, so if you're able to complete your Canvas modules by June 24th, you're going to have your registration holds lifted between June 28th and July 8th, so you can enroll in classes for the fall quarter. So first step is registering for transfer advising if you haven't done it already by June 18th at 5 p.m. Next step is to complete the Canvas modules that are going to be assigned to you by June 24th. And this will be sent to your UCI email accounts. So be checking those UCI email accounts frequently and make sure that you don't delete anything, because that's how we're going to communicate with you as well. And then once those holds are lifted, you are going to receive a direct email from one of our academic advisors with all the information that's necessary for you to enroll in the classes for fall quarter. So you're going to get a completed degree check that shows you what your progress in the major is, what courses you have left within the major, and then we'll provide you with some sample course options for you to enroll into as well. So that email is going to be very important because it's going to be sent to you directly by one of our academic advisors. All right, and then like I said, once your hold is lifted, enroll in classes as soon as possible, because you don't want to miss out on important classes that you need that are required for your major. So if you wait too long, then courses could fill up, and then you might have to wait till the next quarter to take that class, and you don't want that to happen. So the best thing to do is get everything done as quickly as possible so you can get to the next stage and enroll in classes as soon as possible as well. And then a couple of admissions deadlines. Official transcripts need to be sent to admissions by July 1st. Very important deadline there. So make sure that everything that you need to be sent to UCI admissions is sent there. All right, and then your fees for fall quarter are due by September 15th at 4 p.m. So that's very important as well, because if you don't pay your fees by that deadline, then you'll be dropped from your courses for the fall quarter, and then there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to add back into those courses later. So those are two very important deadlines as well. All right, so that's it as far as our presentation is concerned. So what we want to do now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have an opportunity for you to ask some live Q&A questions. So what we want to have you do is enter your questions in the Q&A box, right? And then we're going to have our academic advisors here, myself, and our other advisors are going to help answering those questions for you. We're going to answer it verbally, all right? And make sure your questions are general in nature. So we can't, unfortunately, answer specific questions about you because of confidentiality, but we can answer any general questions that you might have. And then if you can please only send your question once in the chat box. That will help us sift through the questions a little bit easier so we can get to them. So at this point in time, go ahead, you can start putting your questions in the Q&A and we'll get to your questions.
Okay, so it looks like the first question is about registering for transfer advising. So I'll go ahead and answer that one. So it looks like Lisa is asking, where can I register for transfer advising? So as Kurt mentioned, we have actually sent out emails to you to the email address that you used in your UC application. So it would be one of your personal email addresses that you used specifically when you applied to UCI. So you would have gotten an email from our office sometime within the last month that had instructions and a link to a Google form. So it was asking you to submit that form, which is our transfer advising registration form. So please go back and check your email and check your junk email and your spam box as well to take a look. That email would have come from that transferadmit@soxi.uci.edu email address. If you check your email and you don't see an email from us, then please email us at transferadmit and say, hey, I didn't get the transfer advising registration email. Can you send it to me again? And we'll send it to you again. So basically you will follow the instructions in that email, submit the Google form with a copy of your unofficial transcripts from your community colleges or your other universities that you've attended. And then that will be how we review your coursework. And once you submit that form, we will then give you access to the Canvas course that you need to complete in order to kind of unlock your fall quarter registration. So 2 steps. First step is fill out that transfer advising registration form. Once you've done that, then we will send you an invite to join the Canvas course. You'll complete all of your Canvas course modules. And then as long as you've done that by June 24th, then in the following 2 weeks, you'll get an email from one of our advisors that contains your fall course registration information, and we will go ahead and lift your enrollment hold so you can go ahead and enroll in classes. So that's kind of the process. Like I said, if you haven't done that or you can't find the email, like just let us know and we'll resend it to you so you can fill that out. Okay. Oh, one more question. So Lisa's also asking if they uploaded their transcript without UCI GETSI, can they resubmit their transcript with UCI GETSI? So no, you can only submit the form one time, but that's okay. It's fine if you don't have your iGETSI that you've uploaded with the form. We don't, as long as you check the box that says that you have iGETSI or you don't have iGETSI, that's enough for us at this time. Just make sure that when you have your official iGETSI certification, you send the copy directly to UCI admissions. It's okay if you don't have it for us for evaluation purposes, but you do need to send the official document to UCI admissions. Okay, and then, sorry, I just am clearing out some of the administrative questions before we get to the major questions. So, okay, so Tiffany's asking, do we need to submit high school transcripts, and is the transfer advising a Zoom appointment with a counselor? So no, you don't necessarily need to submit your high school transcripts, although as Kurt was mentioning about the American History and Institutions requirement, submitting your high school transcripts may be helpful for you. Like if you took a year of US history in high school here in the US, you can use that to clear the requirement for you. So if after admissions has kind of taken a look at all of your documents, it shows that you still need to complete that requirement, you may want to submit your high school transcripts in order to clear that without having to take classes here at UCI to clear them. And then as far as transfer advising, we are not able to do one-on-one appointments with transfer students this year because we simply just have too many students. So the transfer advising is that Canvas course that you will get access to. And then you will have an email that's sent to you with personalized course recommendations and an evaluation of your community college coursework. And then at that point, if you still have questions, we are hoping to have some Zoom drop-in hours with our peer academic advisors. So peer academic advisors, as Kurt mentioned before, are current students who've been trained to help advise students. And so we are hoping to do like drop-in sessions on Zoom with them later this month or early in July, so that if you have questions about those fall recommendations that were sent to you, you can actually talk to someone over Zoom about it. But yeah, so we won't be able to do one-on-one appointments, but we are hoping to have drop-in sessions for students that do have questions. Okay. So, oh, Tiffany's also asking, when are we able to register for summer classes?
So Tiffany, good question. Summer classes you can actually enroll into right now. The summer session is available. We do have a form if you're interested in doing that. You can that you can actually request for summer session enrollment. There's a form for Transfer Edge summer session that if you submit that form, then we can provide some recommendations to you. And that way you know what to enroll into. Now, summer session 1 is starting fairly quickly. So if you're looking to take classes in summer session 1, that's actually coming up in about a week or a week and a half from now, or 2 weeks. We usually recommend summer session 2 as a more viable option because it does allow you more time to look at course options and things like that. But we can provide you recommendations if you complete the summer session form option, and we'll, if you submit your transcripts, we can give you a pre-evaluation of those courses too.
Okay, so our next question is asking, does introductory statistics from a community college satisfy one of the stats requirements for the econ majors?
Oh, I'll take that. Hi, I'm Estella Magana. I'm one of the academic advisors in the Student Affairs office. In regards to that, unfortunately, no. I feel like I'm giving bad news. My first question, and I'm like, I'm bad news. But no, unfortunately, usually the introductory statistics course is equivalent to something like Stat 7 here at UCI, which is an intro stats course. But with all of the econ majors, you actually have specialized statistics. So if you're an econ or business econ major, Kurt went over this a little bit, and it'll make more sense when you get your evaluation. But you have like specific like econ 15A, 15B. The quantitative econ major takes a lot more math. So they have an upper division statistics sequence. So it's good if you do have introductory statistics that could give you kind of like a little bit background and a good strong foundation to be taking some additional statistics courses, but unfortunately doesn't satisfy any of the degree requirements. But thanks for asking.
Okay, so Jane is asking, if I'm an economics major, can I take the business economics elective courses?
Another great question. So as I mentioned a little bit briefly earlier on the slide, so the biz econ and the econ majors, they're same econ courses, right? They're both economics courses. The difference is that business economics, you have to choose from specific classes, but as an econ major, you can still take those classes and they would still count in the econ major. It just say you have a little bit more choice of some other classes for the econ because there's 6 required upper division courses, where business economics has specific courses and 2 different requirements. But yes, you can take courses as an econ major that are also required for business economics.
Okay, thank you, Kurt. So probably, I don't know if you want to like continue because this seems like a similar question. So Kathy is asking, I'm majoring in business economics. Is the class requirement the same as economics?
So Kathy, another good question. So on the slides that we had on over previously, there are some subtle differences between the business economics and economics major requirements. So what you're going to be getting is a degree check, and there was a sample one on those slides that shows you what if you're an econ major, here are the requirements that you need to complete. If you're a business economics major, here's the requirements that you need to complete. So you're going to get that email later on this summer that's going to show you exactly what courses you need and what you have credit for already. So it's going to make a little bit more sense later on, as opposed to us just telling you a whole bunch of numbers and how many classes here and there. I know it's confusing because we do have pretty specific majors in economics, but it will make more sense later on, especially when you get that degree check, and we'll be very specific about your course choices and what you would need to take in the fall as well.
Okay. Oh, so Sean was asking about enrolling in summer session, which I feel like we already answered. So I'm going to get that one. Okay, so Phoebe's asking, what should we do if we want to add a double major?
I'll take that. In regards to adding a double major, it all kind of depends on what the double major might be. Most schools aren't accepting like double majors for incoming students in your first quarter because they do require, regardless in their change in major criteria, that you have a UC GPA. So whatever major you're planning or hoping to add as a double major, you would want to first complete the change of major requirements. And again, part of that will include having a UC GPA. So the earliest that anyone would be able to declare a double major would be after fall quarter ends. If the major is in our school, definitely let the advisor who emails you know that you're interested in a double major within our school so that we could share more information with that. Otherwise, if it's in another school, they do all have student affairs offices and awesome peer advisors as well that can assist you with knowing a little bit more about the change of major requirements and what you should be looking into taking. Probably fall quarter will be difficult to get into any classes that are not in your current major, and that's because you are new students in our school, but there's all the other schools also have their incoming transfer students and new freshman students as well. So it's harder to get into classes in fall quarter that aren't within your actual major. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Estella. Okay, so PB is also asking if we have IGETSI certification, do we still need to worry about the American History and Institutions requirements?
So good question. In fact, these are all great questions. Keep saying good questions, but they're all good questions. So American History Institutions is separate from IGETSI, but it is something that could be incorporated with it depending on what courses you've taken to satisfy IGETSI. So you may have IGETSI certification, but if you haven't taken an American history course or an American government course, or maybe that's verified on your high school transcript, it's not automatic. IGETSI will not automatically cover American history and American institutions. So that's something that if you think you've done it somewhere else, it's not verified on your transcript, you might want to send, like we mentioned earlier, a high school transcript if you've done it in high school, or if you've done it in another way, like an advanced placement exam or something like that. But yeah, the long answer to your question is it's not automatically covered with IGETSI certification.
Okay, so Tiffany's asking, do my accounting courses from community college satisfy the accounting course requirement for the business economics major?
Hello, Tiffany. Yes, and well, I'm going to say yes and no. Yes, most likely. If you took like a financial accounting course and it's equivalent to like Management 30A, we would count it as Econ 25. What you can do is actually go on assist.org and check just to see. We do use assist.org when we're doing our evaluations. So if it's on there, we're going to see it. You can also see it and give yourself peace of mind and just know that that's already taken care of. But when we give you all your own individual evaluation, you'll be seeing what you still have remaining, but also what the classes you've taken have counted for.
Okay, so Joey is asking, I want to change my major from business economics to business administration. If I meet the requirements, where should I apply to change my major?
So the question with that is there's a two-part answer to this, I guess. One is the major is under the Palmerage School of Business, so that's definitely something you could inquire later on, but keep in mind that the major in business administration is extremely challenging to get into, either as a changing major or being admitted. So I would say not to be the bearer of bad news or anything like that, but it might not be an option for you to change into business administration, because I'm not sure how many they're going to take, if any, during the next couple of years as a changing major. So if that's something you're looking for and you really want to do business administration and that's really what your goal is, you might have to look at other options, outside of UCA, possibly if that's really what you want, because changing the major into that major is going to be really challenging right now. So I would say you would probably be staying with your current major of economics and business economics as your option. But yeah, for business administration, you can actually contact their office, but like I said, they're not really going to be taking too many changing majors.
Yeah, it's a competitive major to get into and it's small. So they don't often accept change of majors for students. So even if you meet all of the requirements and you're highly qualified, you still have to submit an application directly to their school. And even like highly qualified candidates are not accepted regularly into that major. So it's very, very difficult to get into business admin. So as Kurt was saying, if that's something that you're very passionate about and that is a major that you want, you may want to consider going to a different university that has that major as an option, or look at sticking with business economics or economics here at UCI if you want to be a student here at UCI. Okay, so Tiffany is asking, how do I join the honors program?
I'll answer that. In regards to the honors program, you actually apply at the end of your junior year. So in your case, as a transfer student, that could be the end of this incoming year. So probably sometime in spring 2022. Oh, wow. Yeah, so spring 2022. The application's on the economics website, and they do have prerequisites. So during this first year, that's when you're pretty much going to be taking the classes that are prerequisites to applying for the honors program. And the honors program consists of classes that you would be taking in your senior year where you're doing your honors thesis. So I'll put in the chat, kind of the chat box, just the link to the econ website that has the honors information. If you just want to look at it, it is probably, I want to say it's not, well, it's technically won't be, it will be outdated by the time you're applying, but it does give you a general idea of the application. So like for this year, it looks like their application deadline is June 30th. Normally it's around June 1st. So I would say keep an eye out on that for when it might change, but I think it's just a little bit later this year due to remote learning and everything.
Thank you, Estella. Okay. So Andrew is asking, how would I go about submitting my high school transcript to clear the history requirement if I already submitted the registration form? So I'll take this one. So the registration form is separate from, like our registration form for transfer advising is separate from submitting your official documents to admissions to officially clear requirements. So we don't need your high school transcript. We're more concerned with your community college or your other university transcripts because we want to do an evaluation of your work to see what major requirements you've already fulfilled so we know what classes to recommend for you for fall quarter. But if you want to submit your official high school transcripts to clear the American History and Institution requirement, that's done through admissions. So you would actually want to have your high school send your official transcripts directly to UCI undergraduate admissions. And then when admissions is going through and looking at all of your official documents, they'll see that you have that and they will use it to clear that requirement for you in your official student record. So that would be how you would use your high school transcripts to clear the American History and Institutions requirement. Okay, so Sean is asking, do we have a website to check what a course becomes after it is transferred to UCI?
Sean, I just put in the chat assist.org. So if you're transferring from a California community college, then that would be the website you could use in order to see what's transferable. Unfortunately, if you're transferring from, let's say, a Cal State or an out-of-state community college or an out-of-state university, that isn't the agreement. This is really just only the evaluation and agreement with California community colleges and UCI. Oh, well, and UCs and everything like that. But you could always take a look there. You also don't necessarily need to do the work for that because we will be doing that. So we will be providing that for all of you, but yeah.
Okay, so Tiffany's asking, I order my transcripts from community college electronically, but I'm not sure if it will be sent before the deadline. Is the transcript required to be delivered to UCI by July 1 or requested before July 1?
So you definitely want to you utilize your admissions portal and communicate with the admissions office because the deadlines that they have posted typically are they would normally have to have them in hand. You don't want to have an academic hold or anything put on your record. So what I would say is communicate directly through your admissions portal for any direct questions regarding transcript submissions because those are always handled by UCI admissions. That would be your best source of resource for that.
Yeah, if you think there's any chance that your transcript might come in after that July 1 deadline, it's best to notify your admissions counselor now. And you can let them know through your applicant portal, there's a way to message your admissions counselor directly and they can make a note that, you know, because some students, their semesters end late. So, you know, or community colleges are struggling to get transcripts out on time. So, I mean, they're aware that that happens. So yeah, so I would just let them know. That's good. Okay, so the student is asking, the school that they're transferring from told me that the IGETC certification is on their official transcript. How will I know if there are any issues receiving the certification? The short answer is that we'll tell you. So if your official IGETC is posted on your transcripts, that's great. A lot of schools do that instead of sending a separate certification. So whether it's posted on your official transcripts or whether it comes as a separate certification really just depends on your community college. They all do it a little bit differently. So if it's on your official transcripts, we'll be able to see that, and then we can go ahead and clear IGETC. We generally review IGETC completion for students at some point within fall quarter, and we'll let you know if we don't have, like if you told us you said you have IGETC and then we don't have it from you, we will tell you and ask you to have it sent to us. So yes, we will let you know if we don't have it. Okay, Lisa is asking, can we get the Zoom recording for review?
Oh, earlier in the chat box, you might have to scroll back up. I just put the information after we have all of the live sessions, which are running this week and next. The following week, we plan to update them on our new students website, the links to our YouTube page. So they will be on YouTube at that time. We do just want to make sure all the sessions happen first before we start updating that information. So just look for it towards the end of that week being on our YouTube page. And we'll probably also just have an announcement in the Canvas modules. So get on that and just be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, and Estella mentioned the Canvas modules. So the important thing to note for those who have not done their transfer advising registration or have gotten access to Canvas is that all of this information is also covered in your Canvas modules. So there are like slides and video presentations that go over all the major requirements, resources, all of that stuff in your Canvas. So if you already have access to Canvas, that's great. You can go into your modules and you already have access to all of this information. If you haven't, like we said, please submit your transfer advising registration form so that we can give you Canvas access so that you have access to all of this information. Okay, so Tiffany's asking, is the fall quarter in person and will I be able to meet with a counselor in person or is it only through Zoom?
So Tiffany, so the general answer to the fall quarter in person, if you're talking about in-person classes, is that, yeah, the majority of classes are set to be in person. So that is what the campus is aiming for. You might see some courses that might be remote or online that will be indicated in the schedule of classes, but majority of classes will be in person for the fall. Now, as far as meeting with us, at least for the fall quarter, we're going to be available remotely only, especially during the fall quarter. So you'll have opportunities to meet with us via Zoom. We'll have our live chats. You'll have access to us via email and the phone as well, as we talked about earlier in the slides. How things go between winter and spring quarter is to be determined. But at least for the fall quarter anyway, you'll have access to us remotely, virtually. So.
Okay, so don't see any additional questions right now. Oh, wait, hang on. This is a question about vaccines. Where are we just directing to student health? Yeah, okay. So Nadia, questions about vaccines, that's not something that we can answer for you. You're gonna need to contact the UCI Student Health Center. I think we can maybe try and put that link in the chat for you. But yeah, if anybody has questions about any of the vaccine requirements, whether it's the COVID vaccine, flu vaccine, any of that stuff, please talk to the UCI Student Health Center. They're the ones that handle all of that information. So we're not really equipped to answer those questions for you. Okay, so Sean is asking for the 105 quarter units limit, is that for each school or total? So yeah. Okay, so I guess, yeah, that's really the question. So is it 105 units for each school or maximum for across all schools attended?
So Sean, and that actually is total. So like no matter if you've gone to one school or three schools, it's combined. So that's for lower division courses. So if you've gone to like 3 schools, the maximum units that can be combined from those 3 schools is 105 quarter units. So that is, it's not 105 for each school that you've gone to, it's 105 max, no matter what school you've gone to for lower division courses. And that doesn't include advanced placement or international baccalaureate exams if you have those, but it is a combination of units that can be transferred. At 105 is the max for quarter units.
Okay, so Tiffany's asking, when can we speak with a counselor about adding a minor, and where can we find the available minors at UCI?
Tiffany, I put in the chat, I apparently really love links in chat. I put in the chat just a link to the general catalog. So it does list all the majors and minors offered at UCI. You're not limited to minors in the School of Social Sciences. It could be any minor that UCI offers. So just keep that in mind. But the only thing is there's no priority given to minors, unfortunately, when in terms of enrollment. So keep that also in mind, because it may be a lot of waiting during the academic year in order to be able to enroll in certain classes. But you can find the list there if you go to that link, and you can, the general catalog generally will be updated for next year, but this, I don't think much of it is really changing in terms of the list or anything like that. We don't have some random exciting new things coming, unfortunately.
Not this year.
Yeah. Oh, also, I noticed some people are raising their hands. If you have a question, just put it in the Q&A at the bottom, not raising your hand. I'm sorry, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so we'll maybe give it just another minute to see if anybody has any other questions. But if not, then we'll probably go ahead and wrap up. So this is kind of like last call for questions. So if you do have questions, please put them in the chat or in the question and answer box now, so that we can answer them for you. Otherwise, we're going to kind of wrap up and end our session. Okay, so we have a question from Phoebe. She's asking, are we still allowed to take classes in community college after we transfer?
We did kind of touch on that a little bit earlier in the presentation. So with respect to the kind of the transfer unit limits, if you've reached the unit limit, for example, you can still take courses somewhere else and get subject credit, or if you need to take another class, that's a possibility. If you still have units left, if you haven't reached that 105 quarter unit limit yet, there is a possibility you could take some elective courses there if you need anything. You know, I'd say work with our office, you know, if you're planning on doing that at some point in time during the academic year, so we can work with you and figure out what course it is you might want to be taking and if that course would be transferring or not.
Jonathan's asking if the recording of this will be posted anywhere. Yes, as we mentioned, we're going to post all of our recorded live sessions on our new students website and on our YouTube page after the 21st. So after we're done with all the sessions, we will post all of the recordings on our website. So you'll be able to find them there. The link to our website should be further up in the chat. So that should be available for you as well. All right. If you guys are ready, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Do we have any closing thoughts or comments?
Just want to say, you know, thank you for those of you attending and asking all the, you know, general questions that you have. I know it's kind of important to get some of your questions answered, so I'm glad we had the opportunity to kind of provide that to you today. along with the presentation. Definitely keep up on the deadlines. So the emails that you're going to be getting, send them to transfer admit. They're going to come from that email address as well. So keep checking your UCI email accounts, any other accounts, so that way you know that you're meeting the deadlines necessary. Get your Canvas modules completed, all that good stuff. So then you can enroll into classes later on this month and in early next month, so you can get enrolled into all your fall classes. But we're excited to have you on campus in the fall quarter, and we're looking forward to seeing you. So.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope that this was useful information for you. As Kurt was saying, just make sure if you haven't registered for transfer advising already, please do that. And please do your Canvas modules when those become available to you. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to us at that transferadmit@soxsci.uci.edu email, which I also put in the chat so that you can copy and paste it more easily. So yeah, if you have questions that weren't answered here, if you have more specific questions about your personal situation, feel free to email them to us. And we're always available via email for you guys throughout the summer. So yeah, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you guys being here this early in the morning. So